ẹlẹgbàrà ní kò bí lọ pẹlẹgẹ ní dára oró sáwò èṣù máa ṣẹ́ mi ọmọ ẹ̀lẹ́ omi bí ò ṣe
èṣù dé òde o èṣù dé òde o èṣù dé òde o
pẹlẹkẹ
èṣù dé òde o èṣù dé òde o èṣù dé òde o.
Nobody can take my joy away. I am born to be happy. Every single wish shall supply for me is enough to be jolly. God no need to be worried, no. Cause life is a blessing, no. My life is a blessing, no.
Èṣù dé òde o èṣù dé òde o èṣù dé òde o.
Asana.
Èṣù dé òde o èṣù dé òde o èṣù dé òde o.
Every morning I awake, I give thanks to my Lord. Èṣù lẹ́nu He who makes all doors open up for me. Bad energies, no room for you, oh no. All good things is I must get through. Ìran ní òṣè, ọ̀la ìlú, èṣù bá nìkan ọ̀wọ́ ìlú, òró ìlú, ọ̀la ìlú, ọba ẹ̀bọ̀rà nílẹ̀ kẹ́tù, èṣù bẹ́ẹ̀ bọ̀ orúkún, ẹlẹ́gbàrà níbẹ̀ bọ̀ rọ́sà, ẹlẹ́gbàrà níbẹ̀ bọ̀ orúkún rọ́sà, oníbòde ìdè náà yìí.
Èṣù dé òde o 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 èṣù dé òde o.
Borabo Shishe. We are here again, once again, Orisha, the way of life.
Sure.
We are here to spread the information to those who are seeking and to clarify and bring clarity for those on the outside, because as we say, the Western world has brainwashed us and taken us away from what is rightfully ours. I must say, pleasant good night to the members of Yami Egbolime, Imo in Kunupia, Are Ifalashe, my guest, King Shaka,
Benny, sure.
and the man of the moment himself, Baba Arula Fakayo.
Thank you for having me.
Better known as Manjela, the reigning 2020 Young King champion. So, Shaka, we'll leave it to you to lead us.
Before we start, I'd just like to say homage to Olodumare, the owner and the creator of the universe. Homage to our Ori, our inner consciousness that guides us and protects us. I pay homage to Barami Agboniregun, Orunmela, Ileripui, the one who witnessed our destiny in Orun. I pay homage to Ye Oshun, our sweet mother. I pay homage to Baba Eshu, Eshu Lalu, Okirioko. I pay homage to Baba Ogun. May Baba Ogun continue to clear the pathway for us. I pay homage to Shango, Kabiesio. May Baba Shango continue to give us justice here in this land of Trinidad and Tobago. I pay homage to Orishanla, Baba Batala. And I pray that wisdom continues to be our portion and visit us. We pay homage to Baba Shapana. May healing continue to come to this land of Trinidad and Tobago in this COVID-19 situation. I pay homage to Bogbo Orisha, all the Orisha. I pay homage to my Uluwo, my Yanifa, my Ojubona. I pay homage to the Araba, Lutu Ife. I pay homage to all local, regional, and international Babalawos and Ifa Orisha practitioners worldwide.
Ashe.
I pay homage to the heads of shrines in Trinidad and Tobago. And I pay homage to our ancestors, the ones whose shoulders we stand upon. On this day of our 58th year of independence, I ask that our ancestors continue to prop us and clear the way for us in moving forward to full independence and not independence on paper. Asheo.
So, Baba, you are here.
Yes, I am. Finally.
Hey,
So,
Ekabo.
give us a brief introduction.
A very brief one.
Yes.
Well, I know many people know me as Baba Adeloni for many, many, many years. Striving within the Orisha community here in Trinidad and Tobago. And they have known me to be not only in the Orisha tradition, but also in the spiritual Baptist faith here in Trinidad and Tobago. So many people may have known me as Archbishop Brave Boy. Well, I put a handle Archbishop Dr. Brave Boy. And some people will already know me as Grandmaster Brave Boy. What kind of name they might have called me in the spiritual walks of life.
Yes.
But most importantly, growing up, I always find myself honoring my ancestors in the Orisha way of life
Ashe.
because of my ancestors.
Ben.
Yeah. And I've made that transition. Now, I'm known as Baba Urela Fakayode.
Asheo.
I am the son of a very good woman. She's Nayalode of my temple. Ifa Yemi Fakayode, which is my mother. I must give thanks to my mother. I must give thanks to my Ori.
Benny.
And I must give thanks to my Egbe.
Ashe.
I am initiated into Ifa. I'm also initiated into a few Orisha as well. I'm initiated into Batala. I'm initiated into Oshun. I'm initiated into Eshu. I'm initiated into Obaluaye. And also, most importantly, I was also initiated into Voodoo.
Okay.
I'm the head and founder of Ojubo Orisha Omolu.
Benny.
Years ago, it was named Ile Ijuba Obaluaye Omorungla Ati Oshun, a name that was given to me in my dream.
Okay.
At a very young age, I remembered I was 14 years old, very, very clearly. I went to take a throne of grace in the spiritual Baptist faith. And there is where it all began. But before that, I knew my calling was Orisha, because it was at age 9 I had my first manifestation. It was crossing a great pipeline in New Grant in Maruga to head to a shrine known as Mother Fanny's Shrine. She had a shrine in New Grant. For those who know Mother Fanny, she has gone to the realm of the ancestors now. And I remembered having my first manifestation at age 9. When I was 14, taking a throne of grace in the spiritual Baptist faith, as they call it, I encountered certain energies. And I was directed. I was, told what to do and what not to do. It was at that age I was informed to have my shrine, which began in my house, in my mother's house, in the living room, having worship every Friday night. It was in 1994, I can remember very clearly.
Ashe.
It was then I continued to graduate, and then I met with Babalawos who came to Trinidad. I was fortunate enough. I met with Baba Sumarin. People who don't know him know him as Baba Mulatunji Sumarin, Muiwa Sumarin. And him, I got another closer walk within Orisha by having my Ishefa done. That was in the year 2000, I think it was. In 2006, I was initiated into Obaluaye.
Okay.
And other Orishas and coming up. I was also initiated in the local Orisha pantheon under Baba Ford, the late Oloriawo of Trinidad and Tobago, who washed my head under Shango, and the late Iyal Orisha Melvina Rodney, who also did certain type of initiation process here in the local, for me. So my journey in the Orisha faith is a long one, and I'm just introducing myself. I am also the Oba Aje of Trinidad and Tobago, also the Oba Asha, Oba Tala for Trinidad and Tobago. That title was conveyed to me by the Oba Lesson himself in Yoruba land, and that's a bit about it. There's so many things.
Nice.
Very, 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 very strong, long resume. As you know, people, this show is solely on educating the masses and bringing out the truth, understanding of Ifa Orisha, the way of life. And every Monday we'll try to get people, Babalawos, ears, who is of strong essence and belief to pass on any knowledge. You can stream us on Facebook, get into your search bar, Street 919 FM, and to keep this show on board and rolling, as simple as it is, as small as a mustard seed, we ask for the sponsorship because, as of anything on radio, you must pay, and it is not free to run this program here. I must say thanks to the management for giving us the opportunity at this time to showcase. I had a long day today, so I'm going to be someone a little dream, but Orisha shall give me the strength to fulfill my destiny here tonight. So Shaka, you had the stone tonight.
Baba.
Yes. Dada and you.
Asheo. Now it is independence, Baba.
Yeah.
I'm
representing.
Asheo. And when I had prayer, I said that we don't want just independence on paper, but we want independence in terms of the autonomy to be free, to not be able to be in fear of practicing what our ancestors used to practice in the correct way. So there's a verse in Ifa out of Eriete Ogbe that says that, because our people, this is not the parroted version, but because our people liked, the ways of life more than their own, it is how a particular group of people are now at the back foot in terms of claiming and being respected for what is theirs. What do you think about that?
What I know for sure is that our people are evolving now, and that they are coming out of the darkness into the marvelous light. And whereby people will now have been misinformed about a lot of things about Orisha. Now, the younger one are exploiting the tradition in much a vast way and are becoming so knowledgeable about our beautiful tradition. And what in saying that is that we had limited information. Some of the elders who had the information, most of them were more syncretized, as so to speak, and they used to not share the information the way that we would have really expected it to be shared. That doesn't mean that there were some elders that didn't know Yoruba prayer and they didn't know about Yoruba customs and traditions, but they kept using something that they say worked for them.
Okay.
And it really did. In the dispensation of that time, it did work for them. But when you have less knowledge, you perish.
Yeah.
And people without knowledge, they will perish.
Ashe.
So hence the reason why I really must commend this program, because we are getting, somewhere. And, we are getting somewhere, and that proves independence.
Yes.
That proves that we are now evolving from mental slavery.
Benny.
And in so doing, we are going to be totally free.
Sure.
So internationally, people would say, why Orisha has caused all of our ancestors to be enslaved at all different parts of the world. No, you have to look at something. Out of a bad, cometh a good.
That's it.
Orisha is known all over the world because of that slavery, because of that slave Atlantic slave trade. We knew for sure that our ancestors came from a source.
Benny.
So in Brazil we have Orisha, in Cuba we have Orisha, in Trinidad and Tobago we have Orisha,
In Jamaica
we have
Grenada.
Orisha. Grenada we have Orisha all over the place. So now our people is becoming knowledgeable every single day. So happy independence, our people.
Thank you. And Baba, there's a verse in Ifa out of Ogbe Erete that speaks to the common man. In fact, the children of Olodumare, that every person must get Ifa initiation. I know within certain forums there is a deep misconception between that link between Ifa and Orisha. How would you clarify that or debunk the myth that concerns the alignment of Ifa and Orisha as a whole or as something separate?
I would say Ifa Orisha is one.
Sure.
Why I say that is because Ifa is the word of Olodumare
Benny.
guiding our universe. There's a verse in Ifa in Osao Torah that says, what is truth? Ifa is truth. Ifa is the words of Olodumare guiding our universe.
Benny.
And that alone says it all. Whatever comes out of the Orisha mouth is what Ifa is.
Sure.
Because Ogun, whatever Ogun tell you, it is what Olodumare says.
Benny.
What Shango tell you is what Olodumare says. What Oshun tell you is what Olodumare says, etc., etc. It means that whatever the Orisha is telling you, it is the word of Olodumare guiding our universe.
Straight up.
When Olodumare created the universe, he sent Orunmila because there was still much of chaos going on, and he sent Orunmila. The purpose for sending Orunmila here to this material world, is because it was to restore order into the hearts of mankind and to teach us how to live in love and harmony with our fellow men and nature. Also teaching us the science of nature, what we must not eat, what we must drink, what we must wear, what way we must go, etc., etc. It shows a destiny, a roadmap to how we should live our lives.
Benny.
And it will tell us which Orisha we should serve.
Benny.
So when Orunmila came, Orunmila said, all the divinities, because of Orunmila, was able to get sacrificed. They were able to eat. They were able to, because it is through going to Ifa, Ifa will say, go to Shango.
Benny.
It is through going to the diviner cast Ifa will tell him, go to Ogun. This matter you should take to Ogun. You make sacrifice. Do Ebo, and then take sacrifice to Ogun, Eshu, or whoever the Orisha that will deal with the matter.
It's the truth.
And Eshu, always, of course, is in the midst of the mix.
I'd like to tell you, listen in public, and I learned this thus far. I'm replying to a statement by someone on the Facebook page. I like this especially tonight to those of you people streaming live on Facebook. I'm just going to call them out: Colonel Lewis, Camille Locan, Ifa Sheun, Nikamon, Natalie Brown, Fiona Roda, always.
Family Tebalan, Ile, Ijuba, Bogbo, Risha, Mimo, Ofun, Osaf Tebalan.
Beverly Modest, Nikamon says, yes, please spread the knowledge from start to finish for those who ignorant can get information about what is Ifa. And I want to say something to this person here, Peter Green. One thing I have learned from my area, Ifa Lashe, Yame Egbe Igbo. And this is the word of Ifa. We don't disrespect or discriminate no other one's religion. So I'm seeing a statement by you saying, give your life to Jesus Christ. We on this panel here respect your practice and we respect your religion. So in return, I would like you to respect our practice.
And give your life to Shango.
And exactly, just like how you could say to me here, give your life to Jesus Christ. Okay? So it's nice that you're on board here, and I'm sure by 5 minutes to 9, you're going to change that statement. Ashiro?
Ashiro.
Go ahead, Baba.
Baba, and you know, within our tradition, a lot of people would say that, you know, there is no concrete facts. You know, they would say, you know, that our ancestors had nothing. You know, but as we know that Ifa contains 8 essences. There's the historical essence, there's the religious essence, there's the spiritual essence, there is the divine essence, there's the worship and sacrificial essence, there's the scientific and cultural essence. So within our way of life, our Ifa way of life could tell us about every and anything. What was, what will be, and what supposed to happen in the next 5 minutes. So what would you say to people who would have that misconcepted notion?
Well, first to begin, there is nothing that is under the sun that is not in Ifa.
Benny.
And Ifa is a thousands of years old tradition. It is before Christianity existed, before any other most religion, Western religion existed. And when we look at Ifa, we look at vast knowledge of Olodumare, and Olodumare is so big, it's so vast, that it's not even able to contain in a book as the Quran or as the Bible. It is so vast to contain Ifa in a small bottle or a small container. Because Ifa, the Odu, as we will say, chapters, it consists of 16 major Odus, from Ejiobe to Fumeji. And from that 16 major Odu, you have 240 junior Odu. Mathematically speaking, combine 240 to 16 major, you get 256 Odu Ifa chapters. The greatest thing about that is that on the 256 chapter, there are over 1800 plus verses in each. That alone could tell you, in that vast pigeonhole of knowledge, you can learn everything about life here, before and after. Hence, Ifa is so vast in knowledge that nothing is hidden from Ifa. It may have been interpreted in the days of old because of some of the, Yoruba languages. They might talk about a cat, they might talk about a snail, but in today's world we'll interpret cat and snail in a different way.
In a different context.
Right? But it is now for the divine and the Babalawo to now have the knowledge and the spiritual insight, because you can interpret Ifa in so many ways. Because I could chant a verse of Ifa, I could say, okay, Ejiobe, like Ifa for me to turn into, I say, I hear Kilabambo to turn she, and I would say, okay, what is cool water? What do you see cool water? Cool water has come from the spiritual world to the material world. What do you see cool water doing when it has come from the spiritual world to the material world? We see cool water came to the earth to replenish the earth. You may interpret that in so many ways, but it's for the Babalawo at the time when the client is there to interpret it depending on the situation of the client at that time.
And the Iri and the Ayo.
Baba, we just try to do on the program, you're not cutting it. As the people, it's about educating and understanding. Nikamo says, explain what is Odus. I know.
Odu. This word Odu, because Yoruba is a tonal language, and we have the Orisha Odu and we have Odu Ifa. All right. So I don't know what she want me to interpret. If she wants me to interpret,
Interpret the latter.
Yeah.
Interpret the latter.
the Odu-Ifa.
Benny.
All right. So Odu-Ifa, as I say, it's just like, you know, in the Bible, you have Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Joshua, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, and all them kind of different things. It shows clearly that in Ifa, Odu-Ifa is like a Jobe, because it is like chapters. So we have a Jobe, or Yeku Meji, Iwori Meji, Irosu Meji, Owori Meji, Obara Meji, Okoro Meji, Ogunda Meji, Osa Meji, Ika Meji, so and so and so until we form Meji. That is how our Odu-Ifa is. It's like a context, or what we call vast knowledge into one being. It is like the womb of all that exists. Hence Olodumare. Olodumare means the womb of all that is existing here. Alright? So this Odu-Ifa, it means the womb of all knowledge, all put together. Alright?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, that was nice.
Tonight is a safari that is spent. It could never be tonight than Independence.
Yes, man. Happy Independence.
You know, all those who came before Babalawo's ears, you know, enough respect, enough love. Ifa is about humility, patience, and respect.
Benny.
First and foremost, respect.
I share.
Right? And I must say, we're going from strength to strength. Shaka the floor tonight because, you know,
Education,
yeah.
Baba, you know, just to go back a bit, I know you said you passed through different realms and sectors of the tradition, you know, but, you know, as a country that has passed through, you know, the bowels of colonialism and all of that, and, you know, it had affected, you know, the way our ancestors used to practice things, and they had, you know, to synchronize it, you know. I heard you said back then that you were an bishop, am I right? Archbishop, and all of that, and now you are into Ifa as a full Awo.
When we say Awo is mystery.
Yes.
There's nothing that Ifa is not in.
Okay.
You know, Ifa is in Kabbalah.
Okay.
Ifa is in spiritual Baptist too, you know. Ifa is into his Ifa in Hinduism too. Ifa is in everything. There's nothing that Ifa is not. There are sometimes Ifa, you will go to Ifa will tell you you need to go to the Hindu temple because you may be a Hindu. You may come to Ifa for something. And Ifa will say no.
Appease your ancestors.
You need to go and appease your ancestors. The Hindu, you need to go and appease those deities. Make sacrifice, find a pundit, make the necessary sacrifice and do what you have to do. So people have to understand Ifa is a sense of direction.
Yes, a blueprint.
It's a blueprint, there's a guide. You know, people look at Ifa as this is a way of life. This is why I like the program Orisha Way of Life. Because the way Orisha will talk to you may not be the way Orisha will talk to me. Just as your taboo may not be my taboo. My taboo may not be yours.
No, Baba, as they say this, energy is flowing. It is here, it is flowing. And there's something that we as Ifa Orisha people, how Orisha talk to you might be different from me. And we are seeing lots of practices, even on Facebook, where because Orisha talk to someone, they come in and tell the whole masses or everybody, do this, Orisha tell me this, Orisha say to do this. You know? And our next point, I see my boy Shaka, because we about the truth here and understanding.
Totally.
At the end of one time we reach 5 to 9, we must reach a point where the listening public, the viewers must say, yes, I have to tune in. I myself, as a young owl, I must gain total knowledge and grow. Because it makes no sense, Shaka being here, and I bring in someone as great as you are, and no knowledge is imparted. You said that Ifa is in Kaaba. I know that is a big topic, but just shave it.
Shave it up a little bit.
Yeah.
When I say Ifa is in Kaaba, I mean if there's nothing that Ifa is not. Ifa takes the place of everything in the land. If you go, for example, our ancestors who passed through the Middle Passage and came here, they couldn't get Obi Abata.
No.
But the spirit, the ancestors speak through them. That's Ifa, you know. And say, okay, use Obi Banja. That is what you get in here.
Yeah.
That is what you're going to be using.
Or Koreans.
Or Koreans. You know, and that is what they have used for many years, and it worked fine for them. I remembered when I was in Yoruba land, I see them using Orobo. Even here in Trinidad, I saw they was, and I was like, Orobo for Shango. Yeah, right. Okay, but I learned and I started using Orobo for Shango. But then there are people still today use kola nut. But when you look at Shango, and Shango the Irumale and Shango Koya, which is Shango of Oyo, which is the fourth Alafin of Oyo, it is two different. But one prays Shango, which is the deity itself that came from the spiritual world, which is in Irumale, and that one became an Odisha that worshipped the Shango who was an Irumale. People have to understand that.
Just give the same public quick Irumale. Because I know some people on Facebook are saying, because you had them, I watching it, you had them tonight, you understand? You had them, yes, I watching it, it's nice.
Alright. Irumale is, Olodumare created some beings.
Heavenly.
These are heavenly beings, or arch divinities. These arch divinities has no earthly parents. They were never born into the physical. But some came here and performed certain tasks in creating the material world.
Benny.
And in creating the material world, they left and went back to the spiritual world. And they left their signs that they will be remembered by. And human beings started worshipping these signs. And this is when they were now known as Odisha. Irumale can become an Odisha, but Odisha cannot be an Irumale. For example, there are Odisha that were human being, physical human being like you and I, that have done good traits and have done good things for their community, for their country, and do certain things. May have written many books
On their different assignments on earth. It was not one shot something.
Exactly. So different assignments they came and they, when they did these things, they were being remembered. They were extraordinary people. They were like supernatural. They were like healing people, doing all type of, you know.
Baba, you see what you're saying there? It is so correct, because what all of them had in common was that all of them were initiated into Ifa except for sign. You know?
Yes.
We first speak about Ogun being on the Odu or Beosa.
Yeah. But you see, another term to King Shaka.
And Oshun, Oshet, Hura, another supporting Udu that speaks about, you know, Oshun's time on earth here, you know. So as I said,
they were the guidance of Ifa.
Yeah.
Because when Olodumare sent the Romulans to the earth, he sent Oromila, he sent Ogun, he sent Obatala, he sent Eshu, he sent Oshosi. He said to Oromila, you will be the one to share wisdom. You will be the one that the Orisha will go to, the Romulans will go to for advice whenever they have to do anything. Eshu, you will go on errands. Ogun, you are going to be the one to do the skeleton frame. You are going to do the framework. Obatala, you are going to use the clay to mold humans. And Oshosi, you're going to be the one to draw. You're going to architect. You're going to, you know, and they were all given tasks.
Benny.
But they had to go to Oromila. There's a story when they were creating human beings. And while creating human beings, they created like a dome, like a cubicle. And when they created the cubicle, this was for them to know whatever they are doing will be very private. So it's a spiritual sphere that was created to block away what we call the Iyamis. Alright? Now when they did that, they were creating the human beings. Eshu went on the errand, get the sand, get the clay, get this, and they were creating human beings. But something mysterious was happening when they left the cubicle. they were coming back and seeing that the creation that they have created so lusciously were being dismantled. So Orunmila, so the divinities went to Orunmila after they see it happening numerous times. Orunmila, what is the cause of this? Orunmila consulted Ifa. Ifa advised that they get a sharp object and make sacrifice. And when they are creating the human being, they need to hit the earth while they are creating. Ifa went on to tell us that in so doing, they heard a loud cry. When they get to realize there was the big rat that was under the ground. When they questioned the big rat, how you came in here to, what is the cause? Why? For us to release you, you need to talk now. The rat said, it is the witches, it is the Iyami that told me to spy.
Everybody has a role.
Everybody has a role.
Everybody has a role.
Everybody
has a role.
I know I mean asking here, can Irumalas manifest like an Orisha?
There are Irumalas that came here into the material world and they became Orisha, yes. There are some Irumalas that didn't come. They wouldn't manifest. For example, Orunmila is an Irumale. Orunmila would not manifest like how Ogun would manifest, or Shango, or Obatala. You understand? But he will manifest in a different way. When the Babalawo is chanting Ifa,
And it's on the mat.
that on the mat, that manifestation, that knowledge is a manifestation. We have a manifestation every single day of our lives. Right now we are having a manifestation.
Yes, and even too, when Orunmila is on the mat and that connection of the earth, it's very, very sacred.
True.
It's very, very sacred. But Baba, I want to ask you, you know, as we on the Orisha way of life, it's independence again. Our brothers who's in the jails, you know, the Ifa way of life, I think is the only way that could liberate them. As a artist said, it's only could liberate the people. And I honestly think that Ifa could liberate all people. What you think could be done as a community for us to reach our brothers inside of the nation's prisons?
First to begin is, I used to actually visit the prison often.
Okay.
Right? So I'm one of those
Which one?
persons. Well, Golden Grove, the YTC and all this
Okay.
stuff. So I'm very quite familiar with going and, like, they will call it, they evangelize, or they will say, go in and talk to them and tell them how good, you know, God is. But what our people lack is communication. That's one. Not one person could do it. We can't do it alone. This is not a one-man thing. As I explained, Orunmila had his part, or Ogun had his part, Batala had his part, Ishu had his part. All the Irumalas had their role to play. And we have to understand that Obaluaye people has their role to play. Ocean people have their role to play. Yemanja people have their role to play. Ogun people have their role to play. And if we all communicate and make consultation on the behalf, not as an individual, but collectively, we can evolve as a people and remove those young men and women that has been displaced by society in those jailhouses.
Institutions.
We can make a difference.
But how can the Ifa Orisha people and the shrines, the iles, the palace come together, forget whatever differences or whatever is going on, and actually come together? Because that is one of the things the program, we want to be able on the program to, if somebody may arrow, we tell them the closest shrine to go see just, you know, we want to shout out different shrines, you know, so we go in and we understand it. So how can we as elders, you know, there are two types of elders, you know. How can we as elders, you know, like, especially like someone in a great resume like
It's a
yours, you know,
spiritual elder,
that
yeah.
spiritual background that you have, how can we bridge this gap?
Bridging the gap is very easy, and why I say it's very easy is this. If you see yourself as an Orisha devotee, then I don't see a problem why you cannot mobilize by going to different shrines. It's just like if you are a Christian, you worship Jesus, any church you feel to go, you get up and you go. You might be living in Port of Spain, but you were baptized in Deep South. You think you could get down to Deep South every single day? Or every time it has something, you may say, oh God, I'm tired. You know, God is God. I'm going in this church here. I'm going to hear one particular thing, and that is the word of God. So if we have that change of mindset by saying, hey, don't go by Baba Awurela, because he practicing something, I don't know what he practices. Get to know Baba Awurela. Don't go by Harry, because Harry practicing some kind of thing. I don't know if it is Orisha. There's an Odu, I can't remember it now offhand. I think it's Orango Meji that talks about, I may not know what to throw first, if whether it be the rum, the tea, or the whatever I might,
Or the palm oil,
or the palm oil,
or the
whatever,
omi, we don't know.
But I don't know. But I know how to throw something.
You
And
have
I'm
to
going to
pay.
throw something.
You have to pay homage. You must
I
pay
must pay
respect.
homage. So whether or not you want to not go to this shrine, you going to that shrine not for Baba Awurela or Iya this or Iya that. You're going into that shrine to do one thing: serve Olodumare.
Baba, when he was trying to remember that Odu, there's Iwuri Meiji that speaks about people hearing one side of a story and looking to jump to a conclusion. And if I says that such a person who does that is considered a wicked person. No, because even in modern day layman terms here, we cannot hear one side of a story and jump to a conclusion without us doing proper investigation. But as we going forward in terms of now, in terms of coming together, we as Ifa Orisha devotees, you know that, of course, we know that Olodumare sent down certain tenets for us to live by, for all of us to live harmoniously with the environment and with each other. Ifa is not exclusive to one shrine. It is for all Ifa Orisha temples worldwide. So, in terms of us coming together as a collective, do you see us functioning as a body under one umbrella of tenets that would help us guide, you know, the functioning of priests, priestesses within our diaspora here, that would curtail, you know, some dubious practices from taking place and putting our people further at the back foot?
This is something I've been trying to mobilize for a very long time. For those who know who I am, I've been on the television, I've been on radio, and I've tried to tell people, hey, if you cannot be under one umbrella and come and unite as one, even our elders, Iya Melvina Rodney, spoke of that. What we do lack as a community is love, you know. Love and respect. And that's the key. In order for us to evolve and really come together, we must have love and we must have respect. There is not everybody you can get to just, you know, push something down their throat and get them to just move for it. No, slavery have done a great deal of mental distress. And some people feel, okay, you're hitting them with a whip still. So you can't just go and say, Ifa is way, and if nothing else but Ifa. Yeah, we understand all of that, but there are ways, psychologically, there are ways how to deal with things like this.
Yes.
Because if a spiritual Baptist woman come in my temple, and she comes in my temple to visit, and I say, okay, I'm allowing you to pray. And she starts to bawl, and Jesus said, come here every night. I live in her, let her pray. And then when she's finished praying, My members already know
Baba not on that.
what is Baba not on that. So she will pray and I make her feel welcome.
Yes.
And then eventually she keep coming because she start to feel welcome. And then keep coming or gradually now I'll say, I want to talk to you. And I will teach her.
Patience.
Benny.
I will teach her
Suru.
respectfully.
Suru.
You know? Because Ejobe tells us that which should be treated with mature judgment. Let us not deal with it in a state of uncontrolled
Uncontrolled passion.
And the most thing that divides us the most, Otura Meiji tells us, that the unrestrained tongue that does not govern itself is torn apart like a piece of cloth.
And brings destruction.
So if we want us to change, we want change, that positive change we ask Oya for all the time, we need to now accept people to a certain level and be able to sit down, get them comfortable, bring them in a comfortable state. But when you just rush it down their throat,
Yes.
they will be like, you ain't going back there now. Umbrella, you want to part with that now? Listen to me. There are some elders, you cannot go and tell them nothing different but St. Michael is Ogun. St. Teresa is Mama Latte. You cannot go and tell them don't worship it like that. But here you could do it in the private space.
It's all about respect. It's all about respect. I agree.
You understand? And that is the problem we're having as devotees. If we want to evolve under one umbrella, we must understand that there are different people,
True.
different walks of life.
And you dine everyone.
And we dine with
a
everyone.
different.
But yes, and then eventually now when they dine in, we start to discuss.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing? Did you know about this?
Yeah.
But I didn't know now, I'm not too old to learn now. You know about this? Well, boy, I know they used to do it so. Well, here what's going on. You know you could do it so.
Yeah.
And you're getting the same result you're getting here.
Benny.
I am telling you because I have used that format. And a lot have come to Orisha because of that.
And what you have been in there too, in terms of not getting angry quickly. They say hours, we're not supposed to get angry so quick, you know. They say when I always get angry quick, look at that hour, look at his character. Because one, if Ifa says that humility is the father of wisdom and patience follows, it means that we have to teach people with patience.
Yeah.
And not get angry and chase them away.
Yeah.
Because anybody could come to an Orisha space, you know. Wherever Olodumare directs a person to go, and they come, they may come with baggage, but it is up to the Orisha to arrest that person for whatever they are doing in order to make that correction. So it is all about us doing what we have to do and leaving the rest. And patience is a serious thing
Father of good character.
that our youths, our people all over the diaspora and worldwide need to inculcate in their daily practice. We need to adopt patience and, as you said, not grasp at the rope of wealth hurriedly. Because, as you know, Baba, in Trinidad and Tobago here, you know, through the bosom of colonialism, you have been on the Baptist side, and now you are full Ifa. Not so.
Yeah.
Full Ifa. And your work, I'm sure, was one of patience.
Indeed, it was a walk of patience. I remembered, and I just want to add to what you're saying there. When I went to Yoruba land to get initiated in
Which year was that,
Lotu,
by the way?
2013.
Initiated into?
In Ifa.
Ifa.
But before I went to Yoruba land, I was practicing Ifa before.
Okay.
So I was a little bit more ahead of a lot of people. I remember when my Olowo say, cast up a lady. And I cast up Babalawo.
Benny.
Because he understood, now he has a son that not only that he's challenging himself to learn Ifa in English, but challenging himself to learn it in Yoruba as well.
Oh.
So I remembered that he saying to me, you know, it is important for you to learn Ifa as much as possible. Not one Babalawo knows everything.
No.
There are some verses of Ifa you would know and I wouldn't know.
And
I would learn from you.
And when we meet, we read each other
We read
with
each other.
Udu and
Etc. And we learn.
That's
I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Benny.
And then I said, you didn't know that one. Thank you. But in Trinidad, lack of respect is a problem. We have that problem because everybody feels they know it all. We don't know it all. We are all learning. In Nigeria, when I went there, I met a pastor in the house of Magolowo. I didn't know she was a pastor, but the fastness in me, I'm a Trinity in my heart. I saw the woman, I said, how you doing? And she said, you're not from Yoruba land. I swear you were from Yoruba land, your face. I said, no, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. She said, I've heard so much about Trinidad and Tobago. She said, you are a priest? I said, yes, I'm an Orisha priest. She said, okay, I'm a pastor.
Okay. That was in 2013.
Yeah, she said, I'm an evangelist. She said, I have church, many churches. That is really big churches. She said, but I can't take the Bible and throw it to get an answer. So I come to Babalawo
Benny.
to cast Ifa.
Yes.
And Ifa will tell me which way to go, which route to go, and what to do. So I will be successful as a pastor. And I come to make sacrifice.
Benny.
So I asked her, I said, what are the sacrifices? She said, yes, the goat and the chicken and the this.
We are not cool here, Baba.
Sure.
Listen, good night. Caller?
Tasha.
You're the wrong number.
Yes. That's the issue. You know? And I remember in a Gudu, there was an opportunity for me to ask certain questions. And I asked sincerely from my heart, Baba Orumila, I am a pointer in the spiritual Baptist faith. Should I stop putting my spiritual children on the mother's ground as a way of initiation in my temple? And if I advise that I should not stop. But what I should do, I should omit any Christian thing in the ritual. Because as you know, in spiritual Baptist faith, they will, in pointing, they will use scriptures, and they will do this, and they will do that. And successfully enough, a lot of people who came to my temple and who has undergone such ritual, they have evolved. They have seen their ancestors. The ancestors have spoken to them. Just as my ancestors have spoken to me and introduced me and say, you have to keep feast. This is what you have to do. Everything that I have learned in Odisha, most of it was not taught to me by human being.
That's spiritually.
But there's a saying, many are called, few are chosen. But I changed that saying. Many are called, few are chosen, but they are the chosen out of the chosen few.
Baba, as you said that, back to the spiritual and the religious essence of Ifa, because Ifa, the way of life, based on the catechism of Ifa, the body of knowledge, it will help us as a people to be much more spiritually grounded. So how did that add to your arsenal in order to mold and shape, you know, the young ones who are in your temple and stuff like that? Because back then it was only Bible, and now it is the whole corpus. Odu, different chants, different herbs, to help aid the chants to perform certain things. How has that helped you in creating proper, upstanding Ifa devotees in your temple?
First again, I give respect to my ancestors.
Ashe.
When I check back my lineage, I'm not Yoruba.
Okay.
I am from Naomi. And a lot of people don't have the opportunity to check their DNA. I was fortunate enough to get mine done. And so I know that I am from Benin, that old Benin. So when I look at some of the practices of my ancestors, what Spiritual Baptist is doing, most of the practice is African traditional religion. Yes, the morning rites, they may not know, because morning is when you go, because they could not have initiated the people as they really want to into Shango and all these different. So what they did, they had the people initiate themselves. What morning does, it helps you to reinitiate yourself. Now, there are some Ifa people will say, me not going to mourn, but when you look at, when you measure it, there are some Ifa people that really don't have what you call the ashe. Most people that came out of Spiritual Baptists, who mourn and different things like that, they are more great leaders in the Ifa Odisha tradition here in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, they are. Than compared to people that came out of Christianity, which is like Pentecostal and Anglican and Catholic. They will be easily to conform to something that is sit down in a chair and be easily thing. But Spiritual Baptist people come in, we had that. We had that groan, that power, that manifestation.
Yeah.
Of the word of the tongue. And listen to me, get out, spirit. I have no part here. I use that same energy now in Odisha. If somebody come to me and they have evil on them, get out in the name of Olodumare right now. Because I have that power. I was born with that power. So when people say, you come from Spiritual Baptist, that's why you just get on like that. So what?
On that now, let me ask you. The work of a Ifa Orisha priest. You know, the first thing they would tell us is that you have to put yourself under a uluwo. You must subject yourself to being taught. You must make yourself teachable. You must make yourself humble. You must put forward yourself in a way that you would be properly mentored.
So King Shakala, we just take a break here, something.
So we will answer that after.
So
Yes, thank you.
Because that will start.
Yes.
So we have a song here from Babarola Fakayode, a new release.
Òkú ìbọn náà.
Turn it up, turn it.
Bákèrè olówó ẹyọ, èṣù ní kórè wá. Ẹlẹ́gbàrà ní kò bí lọ. Pélékè ní dàrá orò sáwò ìṣòde. Èṣù máa ṣẹ́ mi. Ọmọ ẹ̀lẹ́ omi bí ò ṣe.
Èṣù dé òde o. Èṣù dé òde o. Èṣù dé òde o.
Pẹ̀lẹ́kẹ̀kẹ̀.
Èṣù dé òde o. Èṣù dé òde o. Èṣù dé òde o.
Nobody can take my joy away. I am born to be happy. Every single wish I supply for me is enough to be jolly. God no need to be worried, no. Cause life is a blessing, no. My life is a blessing, no.
Èṣù dé òde o. Èṣù dé òde o. Èṣù dé òde o.
Asana.
Èṣù dé òde o. Èṣù dé òde o. Èṣù dé òde o.
Ayena.
Every morning I awake, I give thanks to my glory. It's full of He who makes all doors open up for me. Bad energy is no room for you, oh no. All good things Jesus must get through.
Ọmọ ẹ̀lọ́ ìran ní òṣè. Ọ̀la ìlú. Èṣù bá ní kọ̀ ọ̀wọ́ ìlú. Òró ìlú. Ọ̀la ìlú. Ọba ẹ̀ bọ̀rọ̀ àdìlẹ̀ kẹ́tù. Èṣù bẹ́ẹ̀ bọ̀ orúkún. Ẹlẹ́gbàrà ní bẹ́ẹ̀ bọ̀ òrùsà. Ẹlẹ́gbàrà ní bẹ́ẹ̀ bọ̀ orúkún lọ́sà. Oníbòde ìdè náà
Issue Dale Dale. 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 Issue Dale Dale.
Òkú ìgbọ́nà bákèrè olówó ẹyọ èṣù ní kórè wá ẹlẹ́gbàrà ní kò bí lọ pẹlẹkẹ ní dàrá orò sáwò èṣù máa ṣẹ́ni ọmọ ẹ̀lẹ́ omi.
Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lọ. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lóye. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lóye. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lóye. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lóye. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lọ. Bàbá wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lọ. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lọ. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lóye. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lóye. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lọ. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà ọmọlúwayé. Ọmọlúwayé. Ọmọlúwo. Olóde o. Láàzọ̀bí o. Ẹlẹ́gbọ́nà. Ọmọlúwo. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lọ. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lọ. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lóye. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lóye. Ṣọ̀pọ̀nà wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lọ. Dàtòjì wọ̀rọ̀ kọrin lọ. Dada ọmọlúmi dada ọlọ́wẹ̀ yọ. 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 Olùwàdà ṣe bọ́lọ́jọ́ mọ̀lúkà ṣọlọ́wọ́. Dada ọmọlúmi dada ọlọ́wẹ̀ yọ. Olùwàdà ṣe bọ́lọ́jọ́ mọ̀lúkà ṣọlọ́wọ́. Dada ọmọlúmi dada ọlọ́wẹ̀ yọ. Dada ọmọlúmi dada ọlọ́wẹ̀ yọ. Dada ọmọlúmi dada ọlọ́wẹ̀ yọ. Dada ọlọ́wẹ̀ yọ. Dada ọlọ́wẹ̀ yọ. Dada ọlọ́wẹ̀ yọ. Dada o. 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 Ọlọ́wẹ̀ yọ.
So we're back at it with Shadow Way of Life with myself known as MC Duke. But when I'm in this forum, I'm Alatum Sheikh Abamshi King Shaka,
Benny, peace and blessings.
and Baba Rula Fakayode.
Thank you.
He's here
Welcome.
imparting knowledge. He's imparting knowledge. So as we say, to keep this show, I know some people might say keep saying that, but you know, with everything you have to pay a price. And still thankful to the management for having us. And you know, drip by drip will fill the bucket.
Benny.
So we need to keep this program here as long as Olodumare permits it to.
Yeah.
And I know
It manifests.
once it has begun, it's not going to stop. And we are in the right place to do this. You know, just months ago, I had you here in front of me doing an interview as Bangela. And when I heard this song with Singing Sanja, I said, move the back. I said, Baba, you win. That is yours. And when you win, you had the audacity and the respect. As an elder, you still had the respect to call me and say, bro, I won, you know? Thank you, you know, thank you. So it goes along with Ifa is about respect, humility, and patience. You know?
Benny.
So we are back at it. It's now 8:18. We go up to 9 where I'll make way for the Black Agenda with David Mohammed. He's up next. We are celebrating 58 years of independence. And what a better way. Instead, fireworks going on, you know. It's going on right here. Right here on this show. Because you know fireworks start at 8.
Yep.
So the fireworks going on since 7. So sit back, relax, and be edified. Shaka?
Yes, Baba, in terms of the work to become an adept Ifa priest, as we know, we have to sit with, in fact, find a mentor, find a uluwo, a teacher. How was that work for you thus far? And where have you reached in terms of becoming a priest?
Well, first to begin, one is not made a priest, they are born a priest. And I may have a different mindset to what is a priest. And I don't see priest and priestess, I see priest.
Priest.
Whether you are a woman, whether you are a man, you are a priest
Okay.
in the tradition. So people will say Ogun priestess is a woman and Ogun priest is a man. Yoruba language, O is he, she, or it. And so it's more a Western thing to say priestess or priest. So, but my walk into the priesthood was really an in-depth one. I remembered connecting with Baba Sumarin in 2000. Yeah,
2000.
somewhere around there. And I met him on the moment where I was yearning for something. Yes, even though I was practicing Odisha, but I was yearning for something. And I went to Ifa consultation. I remember when he consulted Ifa for me, he said to me, you have to be fully initiated into Ifa.
It's a lot.
He said, but it wouldn't be able to do it here because I don't have what is necessary to do it for you here now. He was very honest. He said, but if you can get to Yoruba land, it will be good because of the Udu that cast for you.
Okay.
He said, you know what? Because, let me ask you a question. He consulted Ifa again. And Ifa said, because I'm already practicing and giving Obaluaye his dues, because my temple is for Obaluaye. Obaluaye asked that I be his priest.
Okay. Because you were excluding the virtues.
Yes. In 1996, I began the first Obaluaye festival of Trinidad and Tobago. The very first Obaluaye festival was held at my temple. In 1996, the 17th of March. And it continued from there. I invited some elders, and some had the old story, and some was like, you're too young for that, and some was, as I say, many are called few are chosen, but they're the chosen, or they're the chosen few. And I didn't take heed to a human being and what they had to say. I took heed to my ancestors,
Then.
what they had to say. And they approved it, and that was most importantly. Baba Sumarine taught me a lot.
Taught you.
He taught me a lot as a Baba Lorisha. And he gave me some advice that a lot of Babas didn't want to give at that time. My mother, I used to call her, she was known as Alashe. She's gone to the realm of the ancestors, or Shuniemi. She was like, I used to call that woman every time and sing for her. She used to love for me to sing for her. So I used to call her and sing for her all the time. And I remember he saying to me, you're going to do Ishefa, but you're going to be initiated into Obaloi. So I did Ishefa, which is the preliminary initiation before you do full ecology.
That's hands of Ifa.
Hand of Ifa, some people will say, or Ifa. And I did that. I learned everything what I need to learn about Ishefa, how to feed my Ifa, how to praise my Ifa, how to open my Ifa pot, how to clean my Ifa. Everything I need to know, it was taught to me.
Benny.
Also during that time, it was also taught to me how to initiate people into Ishefa. But it was not time for me to do it yet. But I was training how to do it.
Under whom?
What's his name? Baba Sumarine.
Oh, okay.
Right? And he taught me, this is how you do it, this is what has to be done, this is what is why they were doing this. And further to the information, after initiating into Ifa, it was given to my Yetelodu, it was given to me by Olowo Fayemi Fatunde Fakayode, who then taught me the rest that I need to know. Also how to initiate others into different Orisha, what is to do, how to do it, this is what has to be. I witnessed other Orisha initiation and other Ifa initiations.
So then you did Iba Iwa?
Well, as they will say, yes, I have Udu.
You did Iba Iwa?
Yes.
And your Olowo conveyed such on you?
Yes, yes.
And he took you through the broken calabash?
Yeah, of course. I remembered him, didn't want to initiate one of my spiritual children into Orisha. And I said, no, Baba, you come to Trinidad. When you come to Trinidad, you go to. He said, you can't do it. I said, Baba, no. I always that kind of respectful person. I said, I am not doing it until he said to me, no. My spiritual children went behind my back. I will never forget that. And they messaged him. And they said, you is the Olowo of our father.
And that is?
Olowo Sumari, Fayemi Fatunde Fakayode.
Okay.
He said, you are our spiritual father, Olowo. What are you going to do? This is what's happening to us. He said, I told my son. And I was upset. Because I honestly didn't know. Honestly, even though I had the knowledge and I knew how to do it. And I just wanted my Olowo to be
present.
Here. Because I see the importance of being mentored, to be under the supervision. So I say, you can't be here, then I'm going to have you on the phone 24/0. Baba, I'm taking to the river now. Baba, I'm going to shave the head now. Okay, Baba, I'm going to do this now. I'm making the Orisha now. This is the F1 I'm putting. This is this is the Yoruba. This is this is that, this is this. And I make Orisha. And he was like,
Benny.
You know, you see, when spiritual children have a bright child, it's to push them. And this is the problem we are having in our community here. In Yoruba land, they push the young ones. The elders sit down. And they have the young ones working.
Yeah.
Unlike in Trinidad, sit down, you're ready yet. Come sit down. What the children learn? How are they going to learn? How are you going to learn about Obatala? If you don't do by trial and error, then...
Abba, it's not that I defend them, but students, as you had said, must make yourself teachable and presentable in a particular way. If your students don't exude that patience, don't exude that respect, don't exude that responsibility, you would say, sit down. You know, but it's those who, as you said, exude that brightness, that cut above the rest, who is fulfilling certain attributes in order to go forward and do certain things. So it's not that I think the elders, would just block, I think it's just that we have to embody and imbibe certain
let me see,
qualities.
Let me tell you something about these elders, some of them. I'm not bashing it.
Let me say something. Shaka, I
Benny.
believe you trying to say, at your space,
Yeah.
you mightn't see that, but I have been listening and talking to other people. And you hear it, you just hear
Yeah.
it, and you just see
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
That's what I was going to add to what he said is, now, I remembered in the spiritual Baptist faith, the first thing I learned and was really happy to know is how to clean the church.
Yes!
So,
You have to let the sweep.
I learned to sweep because my grandmother always used to be telling me, yeah, you might know how to sweep, but we know the corners very, very well. So I always wanted to find out what she mean by this thing. Wow. So I saw my mother going to clean the church all the Saturdays, every Saturday, go pick the flowers by the neighbor and all this stuff. And I said, Mommy, I could clean the church? And she was like, well, yeah, you could come with me and see.
Yes.
And I went with my mother like a few Saturdays. And I got the nature of it. I saw how she put in the lantern, how she fixed the flowers and everything. I was like, aha, I could do this, you know. I
Benny.
said, Mommy, you don't do nothing today. And I pray she's listening to this program. She will be very proud to know.
Sure.
And I said, Mommy, you don't do anything to this Saturday here. I'm going to do everything. But you will come and inspect to see that I do it correct.
Benny.
And she stayed home and she cooked. And when I went to the church, I cleaned the church, cleaned everything, fixed the lota and everything, shine the lota, make it shining.
Benny.
And when she came to inspect, she was like, you did well. I said, well, Mommy, as from today, you take a rest from cleaning the church. I will clean the church. I cleaned the church for months.
And yes.
For months.
Yes.
And even I learned so many things because it's that time now I'm seeing the leader every single time I go. And he will then teach me something.
Convey certain things on you. And Baba, I would like again for you all to echo this. One of the first rites of passage in any place or anything we do is humility.
Is it? It is.
People don't want to start up at the ground, or they don't want to labor, but you know, or they want to sit in the front seat, or they want to stand in the front.
No, as they issue, they are appreciated.
Yes, and as I said too, they do not want to submit themselves to be under a mentor,
No.
and as it is passed through certain tests, because if you are not ready for something, it is very irresponsible of your spiritual teacher to put certain information in your hand. It's like putting a firearm in the hands of a madman. He will do what he wants because one, he is not showing that competence.
Exactly.
You know, so
That's what the lack in the tradition here in Trinidad and Tobago. But if because I learned so many things from the elders.
the elders,
I have learned how to cure soul foot.
the
I've
elders,
learned how to give bush baths.
the elders
I
is
have
it.
learned how to do so many things. Mother Lenny, Mother Connox, as they would call her in Maruga, where I born and grow. I lived by her. I understood spirituality. I know what spirituality is all about. I see her cure a man, even though she didn't believe in her Jesus, but I saw her cure a man that couldn't walk for many, many years with olive oil. Just hit the olive oil in a cookie broom. I said, get up and walk. And the man was like, I can't walk, mother, I can't walk. And she said, get up and in walk. She cussed. And I watched she like, she cussing. And the man got up and started to walk. The man bring money and give it to her and all these different things. She didn't charge, but the man bring plenty of money. At that time I didn't know about money, but I see big stacks of money. So I know it's money. Right? And I remember she telling me, she said, in all that you do, and you're walking a spiritual path, always remember people. Always remember, put your shoes in, put your foot in people's shoes. What you don't like for yourself, don't give it or do it to others.
Benny.
And this is what I'm seeing happening in the Orisha faith in Trinidad and Tobago. They don't want anybody talk to them a certain way, but they must want to talk to you a certain way. My Olowo have never disrespected me. And I have never disrespected my Olowo. Up to this day, my Olowo will not talk to me. My Olowo will say, Baba, are you good? Yes, Olowo. I remember that time I was really angry and I started to talk loud and my Olowo said, He said, I am leaving you, let you have finished.
Carry on.
Carry on. Because it's a Western thing, eh? I said, Papa, you would not know, you don't understand. And he was like, okay.
Suru.
Okay.
Cool.
He just said, okay. And when my brother was see I'm calm, he came to me and he said, I am happy that you expressed yourself. It is so expressing yourself, I understand who you are. And I understand now where I will guide you accordingly.
Benny.
He said, this is the way here. This is the way here. But you cannot teach someone who already know. If I ask you, do you know how to do this? Yes. Why am I going to teach you?
Sometimes you have to put certain things behind and allow yourself to be taught.
Simple terms, sometimes you have to empty a cup and
Yeah.
go in. Because the past experiences and the knowledge you have, with this new knowledge that being imparted in you,
Yeah.
your own knowledge, you might have just forget a little, and this new knowledge that you are being that you take it into, you know, they might say, but wait now, is he missing ingredient?
And as our tradition says, the youngster could run on the road very fast, but the elder is the one who knows the potholes and the corners and what to look out for. So in everything is given that respect to our elders. But Baba, on that, you know, we want our children to walk in a particular way. You know, we want to see our children getting the best out of life. And that could only be done with the initiation into Ifa. You understand? I hear a lot of parents out here across all over beating the chest and saying, well, I just spoil my child. I just spoil my child because long time I never get certain things. And I think, to me, I think that if it is I go to the stall and a spoiled apple or a spoiled orange is in front of me, I wouldn't want it. So why are our people giving our children this kind of energy? We have to spoil them. What do you think of that as a Ifa Orisha devotee?
They need a good, because no child, well, none of my children ever disrespect me. Thank God to marry for that.
How much you have though?
2.
Ben.
And one is 23
Once
and one is
celebrated
19.
birthday, once
My daughter,
celebrated birthday,
yeah,
yeah.
19. No, I look young. But I'm from the old school.
But I had opportunity to meet Mother one of them.
Very well. In the Trace, in
Yeah,
the
trust
Trace.
me.
She's a
Long,
great
long
woman.
time.
Yeah, no. She was bedridden at the time? Or
yeah, she was bedridden.
Okay, yeah. Because
It was like in my
before she-
early teens.
What?
Yeah.
Benny.
You know? A great woman she was.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. Scolding children, and I want to touch on the part when they say all our children should be initiated into Ifa. Yes. Once you practice Ifa tradition, it is important for you to have your children initiated into
sure.
Ifa. Because in so doing, you will know their taboo, you will know where they must go, how they must go. If you cannot afford them, do Ishefa for them. But now people are knowledgeable because we have a lot of Esentaye goes on in my temple. So the young ones are now knowledgeable about our tradition, that they are bringing the children 3 days after they are born to have their Esentaye done, and also Ikushadaye done as well. But at the end of the day, not everybody has that knowledge. But thank Olodumare that when you have your temple, you will teach your children. I have my temple with you. But what we need more education, like how we are having it here now.
Benny.
That one day someone will come and talk about Esentaye, someone will come and talk about Ekusudaye and different levels of initiation. Because if you have Esentaye done, not necessarily that you need to do Ishefa. Because it's in Esentaye that you know your taboo, you know what, and then you get fully initiated into Ifa.
Benny.
In Yoruba land, initiation is usually the last thing, you know. In Trinidad, people got initiated first and then learn. In Trinidad, most part of the diaspora, you can ask any Babalawo, real Babalawo,
I believe that.
They will tell you
believe that.
that they will train you first. They will do a certain rank of initiation, and they will train you first. And when you have become knowledgeable, because what makes you a priest is knowledge.
Yes.
Initiation does not make you a priest. So when you have gone through all this rites of passage and knowledge, what I'm doing here, I'm initiating each and everyone that is looking on into some wisdom, into some knowledge. This is a level of initiation here. This discourse is a level of initiation here.
Into something greater.
Into
a door. It's a seed being planted.
Exactly. So now, in Trinidad, you rush to initiate. I want to initiate. I remember people went and initiate long before me, and then I see them ever sit down the ranking. When I ask them, okay, how do you greet your Ifa? Well, okay. You are what? What you say? You are Yanifa. Well, yeah, that what I say. I say, okay, I leave that like that because I would not argue with people.
Respect.
I would not argue with people. I would leave that person. And eventually now I'll ask them certain question. Okay, how do you feed your Ifa now? I remembered on the road, I see someone wearing Ishef Ide Ifa. And I went up to them, I say, Aburu Aboye Boshishe. And they watch me like, what?
Yes.
What?
Don't tell me that.
Listen to
No,
me,
these
listen
things
to
are
me.
true what he's speaking about.
I said, oh, you get, are you not my brother?
No,
What
they
you
don't
mean?
know about that.
Well, I do something. They tell me I have to do. I said, so people are doing Ishefa and don't have the knowledge of what Ishefa is.
On that, Baba, I'm glad.
Let me just touch base with the people.
Yes.
Online, Rose Peter Nicholas says, in the Bible speaks about oils, olive oil, frankincense, etc. People from the ancient even use in prayers. Jennifer Asby Okuli says, yes. Jennifer Asby says, to what you were saying, Baba, in other words, they are giving you an exam before the lessons. And, you know, speaking with people since the program and being into the Orisha Ifa diaspora, you know, plenty people are being turned away because of the going to seek knowledge, wisdom and understanding. You know, favorite Baptist term, you know? And people charging them a pound and a crumb. They're telling them that they do this, they're going for this, they're going for that. How can we help deal with that sort of situation instead of somebody coming to you and you're really breaking them down and they're saying, well, for me to do that because it has some people believe that money is the way. But I know in this diaspora stuff costs a lot. Just a simple thing like palm oil or tea and all these things, it costs. And being the person that you are, how can we influence and get this tarnish? Because one of the reasons why I decided to do this before I came to Shaka is because people say Orisha is Obia, is voodoo, is this, but when you really getting to the understanding, 16 laws at Ifa, trust me, if you only read that, just read it, you will realize it's different to what they are blindfolding us with. And it's either we need to go into the schools, we need more of these programs, you know, and address the situation.
Well, when coming to cost, you know, when coming to cost, in Yoruba land, if you cannot afford initiation, then you will go and clean the shrines, you will go by the Olowo, you will clean his house, you may wash clothes, you may help them with chores and cooking.
Yes.
And stuff like that for knowledge to be
Yes.
imparted to you. Trinidad and Tobago people like too much frico. And they like frico for nothing. If you get something free, you would not appreciate it.
Benny, Everything
So-
you have to look for.
It's not about. I mean, I've heard some ridiculous prices of 20,000 for IFA, and 30,000 some people pay for initiation. I think it's very ridiculous.
So how much? I want to know how much for IFA initiation.
Well, IFA initiation should not be more than probably 6,000 or 7,000 TT dollars,
Baba,
and that includes maintenance and everything in the temple. And there are one or two things besides that you may ask to get on your own. But when I did full IFA in Yoruba land, I had to pay for my ticket, which was 18,000 TT. So let me check it. $18,000 from Trinidad to Europe, from UK, London, and from London to Yoruba land.
you got a straight flight from England to Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay.
Right at the time when I did it.
Yeah, that.
And when I got that flight there and I reached there, I had to take 4 hours. So it's from 9 hours from here to London, I think. And then from London to Yoruba land was 6 hours. I think that's how it went. And then from Lagos, when I landed there, I had to go into the village, which is 4 hours. So you can imagine the stress I was under. And on top of that,
Which village you went to?
I went to Ibadan land.
Ibadan.
Right.
And that is where your
My Olowo is, right? And my Olowo's father was the Araba of Ibadan land. So when I reached there, and they said, okay, the cost of your initiation, this is the cost. It was around 2,000 something US. And on top of it, now there were some things I had to get because of the divination that came. Because my Odu was Shotura.
Sure.
And there were certain things that I had to do. And I had to call home and have them send that money back to me to add with that. So when you look at it, let me say 3,000 US, right? 6 trees.
18.
Right. So you understanding it?
Hmm.
So a Babalawa told me one day, why people are complaining about IFA and don't have any money. IFA is not for the poor. I asked him what he mean by that. He said, because IFA is not for the people that thinks IFA you could come to IFA and just say, okay, I need IFA, and just don't do anything to work for that. People, even when I was under Mother Lenny, Mother Connox, I had to sleep, and I had to sweep the goat pen, the duck pen, feed the chickens, and she had real fowls, real goats, real this, and it's because of that I was able to be taught
Yes.
certain things.
And that gave you a certain clout in front of other people who would just come and dress up nice and seek
Didn't dress up
or reap
nice.
the benefits of
None of my
whatever was
spiritual
there.
children could come and tell me they get initiated and go and boasting around. I am a priest.
No.
You are an Olorisha. You are an Olorisha. You have received this Orisha. You are now the owner of this Orisha. You are now caring for this Orisha. You need to learn about your Orisha. Learn to appease your Orisha. Learn how to initiate others into your Orisha.
You are an Omoawo.
You need to know everything, the taboo, the foods, the dislikes and the likes of your Orisha. And then all these are very important, and this is what people lack in Trinidad and Tobago. They're initiating people into Orisha, but not teaching them. Because all everybody wants to learn is Obia.
Let me
as they
just
would
say
call it.
something. Let me just
They
say something
want
here.
to know the science.
Let me just say something here. And this is for persons who are seeking to get initiated, not just in Trinidad here, but regionally. In order to make somebody your spiritual mentor, you have to spend time observing them. You have to see how they do things, see their relationship with their members, see their relationship with people within their community. You have to ask about these things, because sometimes people could say and claim things that they cannot do. And because you have not done the necessary investigation, you could get yourself tied up.
But that is IFA. IFA says you must not proclaim to do things.
Osarete says that?
I just like to touch on Jamie Simmons says next 5 years it will cost 1,000 to take
No,
a
like
bush.
10,000 she
10,000 to take a bush bath by the sea. That's why people walking away. Replying to Juliana Rose Petter Nicholas, a religion as voodoo. YouTube documentary shows. Jamie says they're born of royalty, and it costing thousands to reclaim what is yours. King Shaka, you know Angie, she's always at
Yeah.
I don't know.
Angie, peace and blessings.
Yes, she
Much
said
eerie to you,
from
Angie
the
St.
Titans
Paul.
of the Titans of Democracy says Grifa Ifabamishe, King Shaka, and guess Baba Arula Fakayode.
Benny.
You know, so a lot of information.
So the
has
person
been-
that asked about the 10,000 thing.
Mhm.
Olodumare give us wisdom. We have an worry.
Benny.
And if you somehow, you really devote yourself to Odisha, you would not be guided to go by nobody that will tell you 10,000 to take a bath. Because I think you're supposed to don't have that thing. Wait now.
That intuition, you have to observe people, Baba.
This person asked for 10,000. You know that old saying, long time, and because of that old saying, I evolve. Even my place, people who know me, they will know when they come to my space now. It's like a paradise, the way it was. And I used to remember one of my spiritual teachers, Mother Jean Bob, saying, she says, show me the if an Obia man or spiritualist working for people, and there is no progress in that spiritualist life, why are you going there? Why are you going to that man's house or to that woman's house?
True.
You understand? This person has nothing to give to you. They're going to do what to you? Make you into distress as they are also in distress. So people will always say, show me the spiritual man place, and I will tell you if I should go there or not.
And that is observant.
Because you can go there and you see the spiritual man. I have nothing to eat today now. Today I know that. And then the spirit say I have to bring rice. The spirit say I have to bring a chicken. The spirit say I have to bring oil. That is signs already for you to know. Keep your 10,000 in your pocket.
And
But
press.
Baba, I
And
want to
press.
ask this question. Someone basic working for the normal minimum wage, going to see a Babalawo, going for DAFA. And if I say a person barely working for 2,000, 25 is $3,000. And then the DAFA, the Babalawo say, if I say you need 2 goats,
I don't know.
1 sheep, and 2 hens, and this person could barely this person's salary barely say minimum wage. What can be done, or what happens?
No. To answer that, and I'll just be straight with you, there are alternatives in IFA.
Yes. You have to.
IFA knows you.
Ah,
IFA knows
shit.
everything about you. If a Babalawo consult IFA and IFA say you need to get a sheep, because this person is dying, then the alternative, we can ask IFA, okay, we need to make Ebo, because you understand Ebo Riru is different to making sacrifice as to say go to a different religion.
Yes.
So we will do Ebo Riru, which is prayer to remove the ajugun.
Benny.
And in that we will include the sheep's the hair from the sheep as an atonement for time, until the person, even the Babalawo, should take money out of his own pocket to assist that person. Yes.
Baba, say that over again.
Yes, the Babalawo should take money out of his pocket to help.
But that
And I remembered there are some spiritual children of mine that didn't have money for initiation, and I have done it for them for free. Come and clean the temple, clean the shrines. It is imperative that you get initiated, but okay, you can't afford. These are your duties, and their lives are saved.
But even in keeping with our tradition, that is how it was done in the olden days. Students will come, some of them would even live in at the temple, and they would do chores. They will cook, they would clean, they would wash, and by observing their Uluwo or their Ianifa, they would even observe the temperament of their Uluwo and Ianifa in terms of dealing with people on a social level. So it is not a new thing where people have to come and work in the temple. That is also, in fact, the best way of learning, by living with your Uluwo or your Ianifa and learning and watching how they do things.
But you see, another thing too we must understand is that our Olowos and our Ianifa, they are human beings. And human beings do err.
Of course.
They have fleshly desires, they have feelings, they have emotions. Certain things, certain spiritual children will do, and because we are so overly excited about how to deal with it, we sound as though we are quarreling. And most time we are not.
Well,
and a lot of people don't understand that. Like, for example, me. People say, Papa will like, here he goes again. You're on the Facebook ranting and raging. But they don't know me. They don't know me. That's why they will say that. But I understand how Eshu deals with me. Because Eshu is the you and you, not even the you and you can understand the you that is inside of you, not even others can understand the you that is inside of you. That you inside of you is what we call Eshu. and nobody would understand you but that divine Olodumare. So when people interpret you, then they are judging you. They are going to be judged. Because every one of us chose a character. Everyone chose how to be. I cannot be King Shaka. King Shaka cannot be me. I saw some people, they will sing for Orisha from here to Neverwary. And Ogun would not come. And there's some people who will play about because there are some people have different ashe. Every one of us were born with a particular ashe. And to draw the reference is this: some spiritual parents like myself, if I see a child in a certain behavior, I am going to deal with them as a father. And I have seen my Olowo back up on his children as a father. Nobody could tell me no Yanifa, no Babalawo, don't get vexed. Nobody could tell me no Orisha priest, don't get vexed. Obaluaye is not hot-tempered, but his priests are.
So we've come to the conclusion of this another great episode. Baba, just mention a shrine. I know you have a program ongoing.
Yes.
At present, I know you're gonna keep it. This program, just touch on it quick to let everybody know. I know you wanna do it again, you know.
Yes.
But I must say I thank you for touching the
Definitely.
On the Sheet 919 FM for the Orisha the Way of Life.
Thank you,
We are young hours. I myself very young, King Shaka, you know, we are here doing our best. Olodumare has given us the strength and the blessings to do this and impart knowledge, especially young upcoming Ifa Orisha devotees in the sense of
Benny.
the upcoming. So we gain in knowledge, and what best knowledge to gain but from elders.
Exactly.
Right? So I must say thank you for coming. And in closing, anything to say?
Well, I want to just add this before I say about the course that is running. Well, let me say about the course that is running and then add that. The spiritual eye opener, I have decided to run that course. That course is actually talking about, helping yourself as a devotee, as a spiritualist. It's not about any religion. We're not discussing anything about religion, but they also the introduction to the Ifa Orisha tradition in the course.
So the essence of Ifa.
You have 2 minutes, eh?
So the essence of Ifa you're all touching on,
Of course.
is the spiritual aspect
Yes.
and not the religious aspect.
No.
Okay.
In the spiritual eye now, we are telling people, come out of the box. Because it is from spirituality you begot religion. Religion was born from spirituality, which supersedes.
But both.
Well, I would say religion is systematic.
Sort of what system we've follow.
We follow tradition. And this is the thing with Ifa. People look at it as a religion. And Ifa is not a religion.
It's a complete way of life.
It's a way of life. It is a tradition.
Essences of all.
And you see, this is what they're trying to do now, to bring Ifa as the Catholics and the. But Ifa could never be that. Ifa is the word of Olodumare guiding the universe, and that is it. And I look at Ifa on a different scale. That's why I kind of keep to myself in a kind of way. Not
but you can't keep to yourself.
When I say keep to myself, I keep to myself in a kind of way that I don't want no argument. Where people who see Ifa as a religion. Because Ifa is a way of life. Full stop.
Yeah, so we've come to the end. Anything in closing?
Just want to say
Shaka.
peace, love, and blessings to Trinidad and Tobago. Parents, do not walk around and tell people that we are spoiling our children. Don't give them that energy, and whatever is spoiled is not good. Train them in a way that when they leave your presence, they can go elsewhere and be teachable. They can function as bosses. They can function under teachers. Do not spoil the children and stop telling people, well, I spoil my child because I only have one child. Don't do that. You know, give them what is right, and then they in turn will make you smile. I show you.
So in closing, may Yeshu continue opening the doorway for us for that success, that positivity, so that our praise may reach Olodumare. May Olodumare bless us. May the rest of our wishes guide and protect us. May our Ori, first and foremost, guide us in whatever we do. About Batala, my Orisha, may you guide me. Give me the peace and understanding. Ifa is great, this show is great. Thank you very much to Baba Arula Fakayode. As normal, King Shaka. I know you're stone show away, we just be talking early every day.
Yeah.
You know, I must say, may Olodumare, may your ancestors grant you long life, prosperity, strength. Angela, Baba Arula. It don't have a time I don't talk to you, right? And there's where we as spiritual people need to do. David Mohammed is here with the Black Agenda, you know. He has it packing, he has a lot for you guys. From one show to our next, Sheet 919. May you enjoy the rest of your independence. May Olodumare guide us and protect each and every one of us. Ashe.
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 The truth must be recognized by the black man.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he wanted me to speak for all black people. Think for the whole and speak for the whole. Here's the way I want you to think. If we have 30 million people eating a slice of bread per meal, that's 90 million slices of bread per day. 630 million slices of bread per week. 37,760,000,000 slices of bread per year. How much land must we have under wheat cultivation to give our people their daily bread? Then he said, move on to milk. How much land must we have? How many cows must we own? How much grazing land must we have to give our people a glass of milk with every meal? How many sheep must we have, and how much grazing land must we have to give our people a lamb chop? I didn't say pork chop. Lamb chops. Ain't got to rob nobody. You gotta own the means of production. then all your businesses will spring up.
How much land must we have to give our people a requirement of spinach or broccoli or carrots, cauliflower, onions, garlic, string beans? All the things that help us to feed ourselves come from the land. How much land must we have? We've got to know just what it takes to feed an entire people. That means we are independent. We've taken our stomach away from our enemies. How much clay land must we have in order to make